Tonight from KELOLAND Media Group, the Summit League Tournament Special.
We are just 3 days away from the Summit League basketball tournament tipping off. Welcome to the KELOLAND Summit League Tournament Special. I'm Sean Bauer alongside Tanner Castora.
Over the next half hour, we will break down the men's and women's brackets, hear from all 4 local teams. Plus, we take a look into how this year's tournament was put together.
Here's a look at the men's bracket, with the SDSU men earning the top seed after going 9-3 in Summit League play during the regular season. Jacks will play Omaha in the opening round, a team they haven't played after that series was canceled due to COVID-19. SDSU and Omaha tip off the men's tournament Saturday night at 5:45. The winner of that will play the winner between Oral Roberts and North Dakota. The Golden Eagles and Fighting Hawks split their regular season series down in Tulsa, UND winning Game 1 by a point, while Oral Roberts responded with a 17-point victory in Game 2. UND and ORU clash Sunday night at 5:45.
On the other side of the bracket, the USD men enter as the 2 seed and open the tournament against Western Illinois Saturday night. The Coyotes swept the regular season series against the Leathernecks. They'll look for their 3rd win over Western Saturday night at 8:45. Then in the men's quarterfinal, it'll be 2-time defending champion NDSU taking on Kansas City. The Bison fell to the 3 seed after splitting their final regular season series with USD, while SDSU swept Kansas City. The Bison and Roos split their 2-game set, with both games decided by less than 4 points. They'll play in the nightcap on Sunday at 8:45. The SDSU men swept Kansas City in their final regular season series, helping them earn a 4th straight regular season championship after USD and NDSU split their 2-game set. The Jacks won 4 of their last 5 games and finished conference play with a 9-3 record. Senior Douglas Wilson led the team in scoring as he averaged more than 16 points per game. SDSU had 2 other current players average double figures as Baylor Shireman added nearly 15 per contest, while Alex Arians chipped in more than 10 points a game. Top-seeded Jacks will meet Omaha in the Summit League tournament for their first meeting of the season after their series was canceled in the regular season due to COVID-19.
We haven't seen them, but they haven't seen us either, so, they've been battling injuries all year, and their lineups have been, very different for a large amount of the season, but on the other hand, they've won 3 of the last 4 games, and so they're gaining confidence as we speak, and they got a couple seniors that, are very, very good players that have been in this situation before.
SDSU and Omaha will meet on Saturday night. Tip-off is set for 5:45.
The USD men held the top spot, or were tied for first the entire regular season, until they fell to NDSU in their season finale last Sunday. The Coyotes enter the tournament now as the 2 seed and will face Western Illinois in the quarterfinals. They'll look for their 3rd win of the season over the Leathernecks. Sophomore standout A.J. Plitzowite is done for the year after suffering a season-ending injury on Saturday, and big man Nikola Zizic is also out for the season due to injury. Heading into Saturday's game, head coach Todd Lee expects a much different Leatherneck team as they've gotten more comfortable under first-year head coach Rob Jeter.
Before they weren't playing Sandage, but he had a kind of coming out party against us the second half of the game, the second night we played, and he's been playing ever since, and he's played really well. So they play really hard. They're very physical. They've got really good size.
Keep our composure. We know what we have to do with these guys. We have almost a full week to prepare for Western Illinois, so I think it'll be a good one. I think we know what we need to do, and then now we just got to master our craft this week.
USD and Oral Roberts will play in the final game of Day 1 Saturday night at 8:45. And now let's take a look at the women's bracket, as SDSU is also the top seed on that side. Jackrabbits finishing the conference slate undefeated. They'll play Omaha in the opening round as they'll look for their 3rd win over the Mavericks. That game's set for 11:45 on Saturday morning, and winner there will play the winner of the 4-5 matchup between Kansas City and Western Illinois. Leathernecks and Roos split their regular season series, with Kansas City taking Game 1 78-64, while the Leathernecks bounced back for a 6-point win in Game 2. That game will tip off on Sunday at 11:45 a.m.
On the other side of the bracket, it'll be USD taking on Oral Roberts in the 2-7 matchup. The Coyotes took both games from the Golden Eagles just 10 days ago, with both wins coming by more than 20 points. USD and Oral Roberts will clash Saturday afternoon at 2:45. Then in the 3-6 matchup, it's North Dakota State and Denver. The Bison enter as the 3 seed, but did split their regular season series with the Pioneers at home. After a 2-point loss, SDSU bounced right back with an 18-point victory. They'll play in the last of the women's quarterfinals Sunday afternoon at 2:45. The SDSU women wrapped up their regular season on an 18-game winning streak as they finished the conference season with a perfect 14-0 record and are now ranked 21st in the latest AP poll. The Jacks will open tournament play against Omaha. SDSU and the Mavs met in Omaha back in mid-January, with State picking up the 2-game sweep, though both games were very competitive. Unlike the last 2 times they played, SDSU will be without Maya Selland, who was lost for the season. The Jacks may also be without their 4th leading scorer in Tori Nelson as she continues to recover from an injury that's kept her out of the last 3 games.
I think this year's Omaha team really has the size, I think, and even the depth inside to match up with some of our post players, forwards that are very good. They are long and they are athletic. They have a good plan where they really try and guard the lane and make you take a lot of jump shots.
They just work really hard. They're aggressive and they do all the gritty things. They rebound well. They're really aggressive on defense. I think it'll be big for us to just stick with our transition game and just try to out-rebound them.
Mavs and Jacks will tip off on Saturday at 11:45.
The USD women will look to defend their tournament crown, but will have to do so as the 2 seed, as they went 12-2 in conference play, with both losses coming at SDSU. The Coyotes lean on their big 3 for their scoring punch, as seniors Hannah Shervin, Chloe Lamb, and Liv Korngable are all averaging double figures this season. USD opens the Summit League tournament against Oral Roberts in the 2nd game on Saturday. The Coyotes swept the regular season series against Oral Roberts, but the 2 just met 10 days ago. So not only have they played recently, but Oral Roberts also off the final weekend of the regular season after their series against Western Illinois was canceled.
We probably think it's a great advantage. Maybe they do too. I know when we had that week in between, sometimes it's hard to maintain the flow of how you're working out.
Yeah, well, Roberts is always a tough competitor for us. They always seem to bring their A game when they play us. And like you said, 3 games and not very long will bring its own obstacles and difficulties. But we'll prepare like we always do.
The Coyotes and Golden Eagles cross pass in Game 2 Saturday afternoon. Tip-off is set for 2:45. Both SDSU's men's and women's teams will enter as the top seeds, but both are having to adjust to life without some of their top players. We'll have those stories next.
Welcome back to the KELOLAND Summit League Tournament Special.
2 weeks ago, SDSU standout sophomore Noah Friedel decided to sit out the remainder of the season to focus on his mental health. As KELOLAND's Grant Sweeter reports, the Jacks have found a way to fill that void that Friedel left behind.
Noah Friedel was one of SDSU's go-to players before he ended his season early to focus on his mental health. The sophomore was averaging 16 points per game while playing 31 minutes a contest.
Obviously, when Noah made his decision, that he was playing quite a few minutes, so that was going to give an opportunity for a couple other guys like Charlie, like Mimsy, and boy, I really like what they've been doing.
Charlie Easley and Matt Mims started seeing more minutes with Friedel's absence and have provided a spark for the Jacks on both ends of the court.
They've defended their tails off. They've made open shots and just haven't tried to do too much either, which is really, really important.
Easley replaced Friedel in the starting lineup.
I wouldn't say I've adjusted too much, just kind of doing the same things I've trying to been doing, just making good effort plays and making sure I always give the energy that I need and the team needs and just do whatever it takes to win.
He just stayed locked in, during the whole year. Like he was always prepared, always came to practice ready, always made sure that he took his chances when he got in the game. And then now how situations are, he took that role in the starting spot and really showed up big time.
Easley and Mims are scoring more than 11 points per contest combined in the last 5 games. But it's been their defensive prowess that's made the biggest difference.
They give us an ability to guard maybe some of those smaller, quick guys that we've struggled with at times. They've really done a nice job on, those types of players. So very, very proud of both of those guys.
As the Jacks get set for Omaha in their opening game of the Summit League tournament, they will have had 5 games with the current lineup to figure things out.
We've been able to, understand how it feels a little bit, maybe make some adjustments and tweaks that can help us along the way.
Grant Sweeter, KELOLAND Sports.
And once again, SDSU opens the Summit League tournament against Omaha Saturday night. Tip-off is set for 5:45.
The SDSU women also enter the Summit League tournament as the #1 seed after completing a perfect 14-0 conference season. But as they look to add a conference championship to their resume, they'll have to do so without their leading scorer, Maya Selland, and potentially without starting forward, Tori Nelson. Both Maya Selland and Tori Nelson suffered injuries in the Jacks game against NDSU back on February 19th and haven't played since.
Sometimes those injuries are really tough and they're just hard to have to work through, but they also create opportunities for people.
In the 3 games since losing both Selland and Nelson, junior forward Peyton Burkhart and senior guard Tylee Irwin have combined to put up 40 points per night.
Peyton last year was a focus for our offense. We ran a ton of things through Peyton last year. Now she's kind of back in that mode again. So she's had that role and given some of it up and now kind of back in it. Tylee's really exploded, I think, as a go-to player. And maybe she wasn't quite that in early January when we were running some different things.
Although Irwin and Burkhart have stepped into bigger roles themselves, they understand it takes a full team effort.
People like Maddie and Haley and Lindsay, like everyone's kind of had to step up and give it a little more effort, but also just bring that energy for us.
A lot of people had to step up and play bigger roles, and I just think that says a lot about our team. Everybody's ready to go when they need to be ready to go, so yeah.
The Jackrabbits may enter the tournament short-handed, but they aren't short of motivation.
Not only do we want to prove people wrong, but the people that got injured, we're playing for them every single game.
We'll have some things we'll have to adjust and get better at going into that first-round game. But certainly I like the momentum that we have coming off of the regular season, and now it's about trying to put that in perspective and really get the right mindset going into the conference tournament.
Selland is out for the year as she underwent season-ending surgery earlier this week. As for Tori Nelson, head coach Aaron Johnson hasn't ruled her out, but they won't know for sure until they get closer to game time.
Still ahead, the USD men will have to move forward without one of their leading scorers, while the Coyote women will look to lean on its senior class as they seek to defend their tournament title.
Welcome back. Like both Jackrabbit teams, the USD men will be without one of their top players after AJ Plitzawhite suffered a season-ending injury this past Saturday. As USD gets set for their opening round matchup against Western Illinois, the Coyotes are fully embracing the next man up mentality.
After suffering his season-ending injury last Saturday, AJ Plitzawhite returned for shoot-around on Sunday.
Still not used to seeing him limping around out there, but just having him around, talking to him, seeing him smile, it's good.
He's the person that is injured, or he's the person that should be down. But he's the one lifting everybody else up.
Losing your second leading scorer at any time is difficult, and playing the very next day didn't help either.
With the way the Summit League schedule is now, with the back-to-backs, losing a player like AJ is basically 40 minutes. It's hard to come back the next game and really be adjusted to that.
6 days between games should help the Coyotes adjust to their new lineup. Mason Archambault, likely returning from injury, will help too.
Trying to get back to getting guys back in their regular spots. If Mason can come back and play, then he can go play the 2 position, and we can get Xavier back at the 3, and we don't have to have Xavier try to learn the 2.
Others are ready to step up.
We're not giving up for sure. It's a tough one to lose AJ, but we're fully capable of winning ball games too. So we're ready for that one. We're ready for the challenge.
Their head coach is confident they'll be ready as well.
We led the Summit League from the first day it started until Sunday. And we have 11 new guys, and we have 9 players that didn't play Division I basketball until this year. Stan has had a great year, AJ's had a great year, but you don't do that unless your players have the right mentality.
The Coyotes will also be without backup center Nikola Zizic, who suffered a knee injury in practice.
Chloe Lamb, Liv Korngable, Monica Arns, and Claudia Kunzer all enrolled at USD immediately after high school, while Hannah Shervin transferred in following her freshman year of college. Now in their senior season, the 5 will leave USD as one of the most accomplished classes, having won 2 regular season conference championships, a Summit League tournament title, and qualified for 2 NCAA tournaments. As soon as USD's seniors stepped on campus, the connection between the five was instantaneous.
I give the shout out to Coach P and to our coaches for recruiting people who are skilled and can help us win, but also who are going to flow well together and get to know each other and enjoy each other's presences.
The pandemic brought all sorts of challenges and a reward, too.
Last year we didn't understand was such a valuable thing to get that off the court time, but practices, I think we do a good job of bringing energy and excitement and just makes playing together that much more fun.
Each one has their specific role, whether that's contributing on the stat sheet or, as Monica Ahrens has had to learn, leadership when you're not able to play.
I feel like people think we're a tough team, and I think that comes from Monica. Like, regardless of if she's playing or not, she gives us, her past performances gives us that extra toughness.
Head coach Dawn Plitzawhite credits her 5 seniors with helping guide the team through all the uncertainty that the last year has produced.
And to have the leaders in your program be fun-loving, be joyful, is really, really important. It's really crucial for us.
The 5 have been part of 103 wins heading into the conference tournament, and they plan on enjoying every last game they get to play.
Because we are so unsure of what the future is for all of us, we're really looking forward to knowing that this will be, for sure, a weekend that we'll all have together and looking forward to it.
With every player receiving an extra year of eligibility this season, Chloe Lamb and Liv Korngable have announced they're both planning on returning to play next year, while the other 3 haven't yet made their official decisions. This year's Summit League tournament, well, it's going to look and feel different than any tourney in history. We'll show you what went into putting this year's event together up next. The Summit League Basketball Championships have been a fixture in Sioux Falls since 2009, but this year the tournament will look completely different than years past due to the pandemic.
From a change of venue to COVID-19 testing, this year's tournament will be like any other tournament in history. KELOLAND's Travis Fossing shows you what went through putting it all together.
A year ago, nearly 50,000 fans packed the Denny Sanford Premier Center for the Summit League Basketball Championships. The South Dakota women and NDSU men were the last team standing, each earning a bid to the NCAA tournament. COVID-19 had other plans. Before a single bracket was busted, the national tournaments were canceled.
USD was ranked 11th in the coaches poll for the women's. NDSU was really hot there at the end, and we thought, wow, this is great going into the tournament. 3 days later, boom, everything fell through, and your heart goes out to those student athletes.
12 months later, the Coyotes and Bison will defend their titles in Sioux Falls, but not at the Premier Center.
When they reached out to us, I had to temper my excitement because I was excited to host, and I know the team here is excited to host.
This year's champions will be crowned at the Sanford Pentagon.
I've joked before that this place was built for pandemic basketball because we can do it all here under one roof.
We're able to use their practice courts plus have a testing area all under one roof. It created sort of what we call a bubble.
Once a team enters the bubble, they'll make a stop at one of 4 COVID-19 testing stations.
Every team will be tested every single day that they're here throughout the whole tournament. We're doing antigen testing, rapid testing, which is 15 minutes results. If there is a positive, we have an area we'll isolate that particular tier 1 person. We'll take a PCR on that and get the results back in 4 hours and immediately begin our contact tracing.
Testing wasn't an issue during the 8-team Crossover Classic in November, but Smith says testing 16 teams, 8 men, 8 women, brings twice the risk.
Every time you add people to that bubble, you're increasing your risk. And so it's another player, another coach, another member of that travel party that has to pass the protocol and pass the tests. And any one of them can trip you up and can put the event at risk.
A huge undertaking for us with 16 teams and trying to put their practice schedules together and then creating a testing window that they have to be here. We're also testing all of our officials. All of our staff is being tested every day. So it's a massive undertaking, obviously something different than we haven't done at our tournament.
The Summit League did consider trimming the tournament field.
We talked about, maybe reducing it to a Final Four or, a smaller bracket, but at the end of the day, this is all about the student athletes and having them an opportunity to compete in our tournament.
They'll play to a mostly empty arena. Tickets are not available to the general public, but the Summit League may allow each team a limited number of immediate family members.
We have announced that we're having no fans, and that will be in place throughout the tournament. We're working on a process to where we're going to have immediate family, to where we're up to 50 that may be able to come in, and we're working through that process. We're pretty sure that we're headed in that direction.
We feel pretty strongly that if the Summit League decides to go in that direction, we're going to be able to accommodate that, work it right into our protocols and our plans for the event, and keep the athletes safe.
That's 2 tickets per person. One concern is family members traveling from out of state and potentially spreading the virus. Duple says the league took a survey of teams and found that 95% of parents live outside of South Dakota.
We're hoping this is a one-year blip, but we're prepared now with a game plan on our testing and all the different protocols that we have established if this ever happens again.
Duple says the lack of fans at this year's tournament will cost the Summit League hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Obviously, our tournament's been very successful, not only from a competitive standpoint and from a fan atmosphere, but financially as well. That pales in what we're trying to do and make a safe environment for our student athletes.
The NCAA men's and women's basketball tournaments will be played in Indiana and Texas, respectively. But for the first time ever, teams will punch their ticket here at Heritage Court.
The vision for this place was where champions are crowned, right? This is just an extension of that, and it feels like a fulfillment of that vision, that we now get to crown a champion for the Summit League and send that team to the national tournament. It's a pretty cool thing.
In Sioux Falls, Travis Fossing, KELOLAND Sports.
And here's another look at Saturday's slate. Tipping things off will be the top-seeded SDSU women and Omaha. That game's set for 11:45. Then at 2:45, it's the defending tournament champion USD women clashing with Oral Roberts. The men's tournament begins at 5:45 Saturday night as the SDSU men will play Omaha. And then in the nightcap, it'll be USD taking on Western Illinois. That game's set for 8:45, and then the teams will change for Sunday and Monday, but the same game times will remain for each day. And we are just 3 short days away from the return of the Summit League tournament. Make sure to follow KELOLAND Sports throughout the entire tournament for all the coverage on air and online.
We'll have game previews available online shortly before each tip-off, live blogs during each SDSU and USD game, and we're live streaming every Jackrabbit and Coyote press conference on KELOLAND.com.
We'll have live reports from the Sanford Pentagon throughout the tournament, and as always, highlights and reaction from each day on KELOLAND News. Thank you for watching the KELOLAND Summit League Tournament Special. Enjoy the rest of your week and get ready for some basketball.